Hey guys, what's up? So today I thought I'd show you around my workspace that I have here. You guys have seen me work on my cars and the videos that I make, and the main reason that I post them is so I can go back myself and see what I've done and see how I did it and how I laid it out, so that I know if something breaks, how to fix it and stuff like that, and hopefully that it helps you guys out fixing your own cars, or maybe having the issues that I'm having. But today I'm gonna do kind of a different video and kind of show you around my workspace and show you the tools that I own, and kind of the tools I think you should buy starting out, coming from somebody who just works on his own car and stuff like that, not in a shop environment. There are a lot of videos online of which tools you should buy if you're going to be a mechanic, or which tools you should buy if you're going to be this or that, but there aren't a whole lot of videos about just the home dude that's trying to save some money. What I will say is tools and toolboxes and workbenches are expensive. Whenever I first started working on cars, I had this tool bag right here, and that's all I had. And then whenever my mom got rid of this hutch, I was like, hey, I'll take it. And I had all my tools in these two drawers down here in these cabinets, and sitting on top of here, and also still in my toolbox. And I converted this hutch. I took the back part off of it and bought a piece of wood, screwed it on there, and that was my workbench for a while, and my tool bench for a while as well. I used to have my vise mounted right there, but I moved it over there. And yeah, so you don't need to go out and buy a toolbox or a workbench or anything. You just need to, if you're wanting to work on your own stuff, just get a tool bag so that all your tools are in a spot and you know where they're at. They're not all spread out all over the place. And as I go through all the tools that I have, I'll show you the ones that I think are necessary for a beginner trying to work on their own car, and some of the tools that I think are awesome and will help out a lot but aren't necessary whatsoever. And then I'll show you some of the tools that I bought that I wish that I hadn't bought. So getting right into it, this is my toolbox that I bought. I got it on sale from Home Depot. I think it cost about $500 something. Again, you don't need a toolbox, although it's very nice to have one. It's not necessary whatsoever. One thing that you're definitely going to want to buy is a small parts tray or magnetic tray. You can get this one right here from Harbor Freight for 99 cents or $2 or something. I've had it for almost 7 years now, and it's still holding up, so no need to buy an expensive one. I've got like 6 of them, and that's the only big one that I have. I end up using this small one more, unless I'm doing a job that requires a lot of bolts to be taken off, then I'll use that one. But yep, that's one thing that I definitely recommend you buy. Before we open the box, some other things I have on this side that make my life really, really nice whenever I'm working on stuff is this little paper towel holder that I keep my blue shop towels on, my glove holder so I can easily just pull out some gloves, and I got my safety glasses and my sunglasses on the side of that, and then got a little shelf, magnetic shelf up there that holds my oil and grease and stuff. So getting into the top of the hutch, I don't really keep a whole lot of stuff in here. I just keep a drink, whatever I'm drinking, all my batteries and battery chargers for all my power tools, some gloves, blinker fluid, and then a speaker, because I always listen to music whenever I work on something, and then also a notepad and a marker. And then I got my charging brick over here is my phone charger, my speaker charger, and then all that stuff is plugged in there. So getting into the first drawer, this is my screwdriver drawer. So I don't recommend that you go out and buy a bunch of different flatheads and Phillips heads. It's not necessary. It's nice to have them and stuff like that, but not necessary, because I've got Phillips, flathead, Phillips, flathead, Phillips, flathead. And the thing I end up using the most out of all of this here is my bit driver. This Husky bit driver is my favorite bit driver I've ever owned. I hammer on it all the time. The magnet hasn't worn out on me at all. And what's great about the bit drivers is you can get these for like $5 or $6 or something, and then buy a set of bits for real cheap also. And you'll end up spending less money, because if you buy Phillips head and a flathead, then you only have a Phillips head and a flathead. If you buy this, you have number 2 Phillips, number 3 Phillips, flatheads, Allen, Torx, anything. And you could even go and buy more bits for it, and all the bits are gonna work in there great. Now, what I will say is, after buying this, I bought this one as well. I like the Husky one a lot more, because this one, it's the universal one where you can pull out the middle piece there, and then you've got your Phillips head on this side, you've got your square bit on that side, and then you can pull that out, flip it around, and then now you've got your flathead. You can pull the flathead out. You got another Phillips head, and then, oh man, it's hard to push that in for some reason. There we go. And then you can do that with all 4 of them, so you can pull this out, and then I believe Torx, yeah, you got a Torx fit. But the thing I don't like about this one is the fact that the only bits you're able to use in there are the ones with the detent ball, because if you try to put a normal one in here, it's just gonna slide out, and it's not gonna stay in. So it's a good screwdriver, but I recommend the Husky one over this one, because the Husky one is magnetic in there, it'll hold your bits. But if you're looking to do some heavy duty stuff where you might need to put like a wrench on here to get more leverage, or you want one with a magnetic tip so your screws don't get lost, or you want one that's metal all the way through so you can like wail on it with a hammer, then these Milwaukee ones have held up really well. I got the set, I think it was like $7 or $8 for the Phillips and flathead, and you can wail on those things and they're not going to get destroyed. But that being said, I would also go ahead and go to Walmart and get a little crappy set of small ones, just in case you need to pull apart something small. I think this was like $3. But other than that, yeah, I've got all these Phillips and flathead. This one was given to me by my dad, and then I've got this one from my grandpa, this one from my grandpa, and then I've got my tape measures in here. I got this one from my dad, and then this one from Walmart. You don't need to go out and buy an expensive tape measure unless you're a contractor or something and you need it to stay out super far. And then once you get all the basic tools, I would definitely recommend a set of picks. You don't have to buy expensive ones. I think these were like $4 for a pack of 4, and these work great. I haven't broken them yet, so held up pretty well. And then the next drawer over on this side is my junk drawer. basically in here, all I've got is, these are for my weed whacker. I've got a roll of oil change stickers. I've got my 2 razor blade knives, and you can never have too many of those, so got all the change that I find in my car after I clean it out. I've got an extra key. I've got my little hanger for my Milwaukee 3/8 impact that I don't use because I don't hang it on my belt. Some more razor blades, a little notepad to keep notes on. I got batteries in the back here. I have tape, scissors, small screwdrivers. In here, I've got paint markers, normal markers, and some pens in here. And that's about it for that drawer. Going one more drawer down, I have just a random bit driver. I've got another random bit driver, and then I've got a bunch of random Allen keys, and a set of SAE ones, just a small set that I found somewhere when I cleaned out. Then I've got my big set of millimeter Allen keys that has every size you'll ever need. And then I've got a set of security Torx Allens that I use all the time. And then going one more down, I have my small set of pliers. So I've got these cutters. I bought probably 5 or 6 different types of cutters, and they've all been pretty crap, but the Crescent brand ones are pretty good. They've lasted a while. And then it came in a pack of 2 with this little guy. I've got my vice grips. I would totally recommend getting a set of vice grips for sure whenever you're first starting out. Those are really helpful. Set of vice grips and needle nose pliers. Those are the number 1 pliers you need to get. I'll just get a normal size set of needle nose pliers. Got this really crap snap ring plier, and I'm about to throw it in the garbage because it's a piece of crap. Got it from Walmart. Don't buy it. It's a waste of money. I'm gonna buy a set from Harbor Freight. The what's their new brand called? Icon or whatever. They have a set of them that I'm gonna try out and see how they are. And then I've got my wire strippers because I do a lot of electrical work in the house and sometimes on cars, but mostly for the house. You don't really need a set of those because you can do the same thing with the sharp part of the pliers. I've got a small set of needle nose, and then some needle nose that I got from my grandpa. Then I have this this wrench from my or not wrench, this set of pliers from my dad. Not too many pliers. I always keep extra pliers other places. Like I got a pair of pliers in my tool bag that I have a whole different set of tools, my old tools that I had before I bought my nice tools in there in case I need to go anywhere. I don't have to pull out all my tools from here and take it and have it be a big ordeal. I can just go grab that and go wherever I need to go and have everything I need. So in here I have my 2 torque wrenches. So I have the 3/8 torque wrench and then a 1/4 inch torque wrench. This is what I use for inch pounds. This is what I use for foot pounds. I don't ever really use Newton meters or anything like that, so this one works great. Got it from Harbor Freight. As long as you put it down to the lowest setting after you're done using it, it'll last you forever. And same with any torque wrench, but especially the Harbor Freight one. And I've got just a random Husky ratchet that I got in a set with some sockets. Then I've got a random 1/4 inch ratchet and another random 1/4 inch ratchet. This is my drawer for sockets I don't use very often, and random ratchets, and then torque wrenches. So I work on a lot of import cars. I don't work on a lot of domestic cars, and even the new domestic cars are turned into metric anyways, but I have a set of standard 1/4 inch sockets, and then I've got a set of standard 3/8 sockets there, and then so I have the deep ones and I have the shallow ones. These came in that Husky kit. These came in that Husky kit. This is a Pittsburgh kit from Harbor Freight. These two are Craftsman ones from my grandpa that he gave me. Then I've got my 3/8 Allen and security Torx. And then that security Torx set came with 3/8 and it came with 1/4 inch. So I've got my 1/4 inch here on a different rail, and then I've got my long ball-headed Allen 3/8. This is just my drawer for stuff that I don't use very often. I wouldn't recommend, if you're starting out, to buy any of this. You don't need these or these. You can do the same thing with these. It's just sometimes nicer or easier or faster to do it with a ratchet rather than with that. So that's why I have these. And then going into the next drawer, I've got my wrenches. So got 2 adjustable wrenches. If you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of money, you want to buy something that's going to be good for everything, buy an adjustable wrench or crescent wrench. You can't go wrong, because some of them will have the size, I don't know if you can see that or not, the sizes on it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this side has standard, the other side has metric, so it tells you how big the size is as you open it. You can basically make this into this. This one can do all of this. Granted, not as well, but if you're on a budget, I'd say go with one of these. If you're not on that tight of a budget, don't get ratcheting or flex head ratcheting wrenches. Just get a set from Harbor Freight of wrenches that you can use. It's going to be the cheapest. It's going to last you. I made a little toolkit for my girlfriend and gave her my old Harbor Freight ones, and I bought these Husky ones, and they've outperformed the Harbor Freight ones, but then again, $13 versus $30, so is what it is. And then my kit didn't come with a 7 or an 8, so I went online and bought some Tecton 7 and 8, because I do use those fairly often, the 7 and 6 and 8 and 9, surprisingly. But then I also have my set of Husky ratcheting wrenches. These have been really nice. Now the kit is fairly expensive. It comes with 8 through 15. It does skip a few, but it is what it is. They're really nice quality and they're gonna last, so lifetime warranty also, so is what it is. But I went ahead and bought the Tecton 7 and 6 and 17, and then I need to buy the 16, 18, and 19, so I have a full set of the ratcheting flex head. And then I probably won't need another wrench. I've got my set of SAE wrenches in that tool bag, just because I didn't want it to take up a lot of space. But yeah, I've got these 2 adjustable ones and just a random one from one of my skateboard bearing, or not bearing, what's the word I'm looking for, the hardware kit to put the trucks on. Just a random wrench, and I keep all my tools, so it's just kind of in there. So the next drawer is the big drawer. It's my socket and ratchet drawer that I use the most often. So yes, we'll start from smallest to biggest. So I've got my set of 1/4 inch sockets. So I've got deep ones and shallow ones, and the deep go from 4 all the way to 14, with the exception of 4.5, 5.5. So down here on the shallow, I have 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5, and it goes all the way up to 14 as well. And it's just a hodgepodge of different brands and stuff. Now my ratchets that I have for 1/4 inch I have this Husky one, and it's done really well. But if I need to use something a little bit bigger, I have this Pittsburgh one from Harbor Freight, and it works fairly well also. I have no complaints about either one of them. I like the Husky one more, but sometimes it's a little bit too small. I wish they made a bigger one, but it is what it is. So here are my extensions for the 1/4 inch. I've got 3/8 to 1/4 inch. I have 2 of those. And then I've got the little universal extension. I've got 1/4 inch to 3/8. And then moving over, I have my 3/8 stuff. Now I use 3/8 more than I use any other size of anvil, so I've got the most sockets on this side. As you saw up here, I've got all these 3/8 sockets and 1/4 inch sockets, but down here I've got a full set of metric sockets, so all the way from 6 to 20 deep, and then all the way from 6 to 20 shallow. And all of the shallow ones from 10 to 20 are impact grade sockets, and then all of these, excluding the 20 is an impact. I bought it to do a job that I needed a deep 20 for, and that was back when I didn't have any 1/2 inch stuff, so I had to buy 3/8. But all the rest of them are just what's the word I'm looking for? Chrome. These are just chrome sockets. And then I've got another set over here, because these are all 6-point. I have a full set of 12-point sockets for 3/8, so I've got from 10 all the way up to 19, and then I've got 10 to 18, 19 to 22, and then I've got a couple deep ones, so I have like 10 to 16, because I don't really use 12-point very often, but when I need it, I need it. So I would recommend to you, just starting out, you don't need 1/4 inch unless you do a lot of small stuff. I would say get a nice set of 3/8, get a nice 3/8 ratchet, and you should be set. Just pick deep or shallow. You don't need both sets, just pick one set and stick with it. And then I've got all my 3/8 extensions here, got a universal point, and I've got my long ones back here, so I have this 20-inch 3/8 extension, and then my 10-inch, and then I've got all my ratchets. So I have a stubby Husky one, a normal Husky one, I've got a flex head Cobalt one, got a locking flex head Husky one, and then a really long handled Husky one. My best advice, get one like this. So far, this ratchet has been my favorite ratchet to use out of all of them. This locking flex head has held up really well. The flex head part doesn't even feel like a flex head whenever it's locked, and it has a lot of strength to it. You don't have to worry about breaking it, and also if you do, it's a lifetime warranty, so it doesn't matter. But what I recommend to you is buy a flex head with semi-long length, because this is going to be the most universal ratchet, just period. Because if you need to get into a tight spot, you can flex it and get into that area that you need to get. Unless you're on a real tight budget, then just buy a cheap 3/8 ratchet. Don't buy one that's like $4 or $3 or something like that. Buy one that's at least $15, because you don't want to be sitting there screwing with it, having it break, having it not engage, and you'll just get frustrated. The Husky ones are really nice. This one and this one are comparable, but you can see this one, the black one is longer, and also it's got 100 teeth instead of 72 teeth. You can kind of hear it whenever you twist them. This one has a dual pawl design. This one has a single pawl design. Some say that this one's going to be stronger, but I haven't had any experience where this one even felt like it was going to skip or break or anything. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. If you have the money, I would say go with the higher tooth count and just get a nice ratchet. This Cobalt one has a 90 tooth, and it's been pretty good as well. If you're biased, Home Depot versus Lowe's, these are pretty comparable. I like this one more because it locks, but this one's a little bit longer, so it is what it is. And then I've got my impact 1/2-inch sockets. Now, if you have an impact gun, or if you plan on buying an impact gun, just get impact sockets, because they work the same as chrome sockets, and you can use them for impact. So if you're planning on using impact sockets, just get them right out of the get-go. They're not that much more expensive, so that's what I would do. But I've got a full set of deep and a full set of shallow. So I've got from 10 all the way to 32, and I've got from 10 all the way to 25. And those are all 1/2-inch. And I've got all my 1/2-inch extensions. I've got a couple random 1/2-inch sockets, some extra ones that, excuse me, that I had before I bought the set. And I've got my extensions. Those are all impact extensions. And I've got 2 more extensions on this side, both 10-inch impact. And then as far as 1/2-inch ratchets, I've got this one. I've got the locking flex head one. I do use these sometimes, but I don't use them very often. My recommendation is just buy a 1/2-inch breaker bar after you buy the tools at first. Once you're starting to get into you have the basic toolkit, you want to find something else, get a set of deep impact 1/2-inch sockets, get a breaker bar, and get a 1/2-inch impact gun. Just skip the 1/2-inch ratchets altogether, because you're not going to use them very often. But I've got this Pittsburgh breaker bar, works really well. So there's my socket drawer, all my sockets, different sizes, and yeah, so there's that. I use that for the most often. And then coming down, it's going to start getting pretty boring now. Got all my vehicle specific items, so panel clip pliers, panel removal tools, spark plug socket with the wobble. It's a long. I use this all the time. I love it a lot. I've got my oil filter wrench. This is a big C-clamp vice grip that I use to depress brake calipers whenever I do brake jobs. And then I've got a set of, what are those called? What are those called? Hose clamp pliers to clamp on the hose clamps. Instead of using needle nose pliers, you use these, and it ratchets so that whenever you clamp it down, you can move it and it'll stay locked. And then I've got an O2 sensor wrench, got an O2 sensor socket, have my wheel locks, have another spark plug socket. This is for a smart car oil drain bolt. Don't know why it's this size. It's a what is it, 15/16? I don't know why they made it so big, but I've got that because I did a couple oil changes on a smart car. And then got my spark plug gapping tool. I have a 32mm 3/8 for my girlfriend's old Pontiac oil filter cap. And I've got a little plastic wheel lug nut tool for the ones that have covers on the lug nuts, so you can take it off without scratching them. Then I've got dielectric grease, brake grease, Loctite, silicone, and then super glue and stuff like that. JB Weld. If you're just starting out, don't buy any of this except for maybe a spark plug socket if you're planning on doing spark plugs, but make sure you get the size for your car because some spark plugs have a different size. I've got this one, and that one. They're all 3 different sizes, but that's just because I've been doing spark plugs on different cars. So just get the one for your car, and that's it. Just get a socket with the rubber insert and get an extension. Alright, so moving over. This is my drill bit and reciprocating saw and random stuff drawer. So I've got a drill bit set, I've got a random screwdriver set for my grandpa, got a magnetizer and demagnetizer, I've got a random bit set that came with my Hitachi drill, got a file, I've got random set of drill bits, I've got my hole saw drill bits, they roll out and got a bunch of different sizes, got my reciprocating saw blades, have a bunch of random drill bits, I've got a couple hole saws, and I have a 1/2 inch adapter for a drill, and I've got some Dremel stuff and a little drill brush type deal, and then I've got just a bunch of different bits and drill bits and 3/8, 1/4 inch bit extensions, just stuff like that in there. And going down, I just moved, this used to be my bolt drawer, so I had all of those bolts and bags up there. I had those in that drawer, so now that drawer is empty. Going down one drawer though, I've got all my clamps, got my tap and die set, have a random drill bit set under there, have my sander, sandpaper, sanding block, more sandpaper. This is just a random sand and clamp drawer. I don't use the tap and die set or those drill bits very often, so they just kind of live in there. Then moving over, I've got all my hammers. So a hammer is something that you're gonna need just starting out. I would just get a normal sized hammer. You don't need anything fancy, just a normal sized hammer. That'll do you a world of good. You'll use it for a lot of stuff. But I've got 2 hammers. I got the small hammer. I got my what is that? The rubber hammer, mini sledgehammer. This thing is awesome. I use it to take off a lot of stuff that won't come off. And then I've got my punches and my pry bar. I've got a little tool to cut fiberglass, or not fiberglass, what's that stuff called? Plexiglass, so I won't crack it. So you scar it up and then you can break it off. And then I've got a drywall saw, so I can cut holes in drywall. It opens up, but it's pretty stiff to open with one end. But yeah, it just folds out, and you can replace the blade on it, which is nice. And then it just closes back up. And I've got just a random little handsaw, and that's about it for my, well actually no, got a ball peen hammer that I got from my grandpa, and then some wire brushes and a big wire brush. So moving on, all this stuff is just random crap. I got a multimeter for checking voltage and continuity and stuff like that. Have a oil disconnect, or not oil, fuel disconnect tools. These are junk. I wish I wouldn't have bought them. They were like 20 bucks or something. Do not spend your money on it. You can do the same thing with a pair of pliers. You do not need these. These are trash. Then I've got my staple gun, got my rivet tool, some rivets, and some staples. Moving down one more drawer. This is part of my power tools drawer. So I have my Hitachi drill, have my porter cable drill, porter cable, reciprocating saw, battery. And I've got my torch. Torch is something that you definitely want to get whenever you're building up more tools after you have the basic tools, because that'll get some stuck bolts off better than some PB Blaster or WD-40 for sure. And then moving down one more drawer, got my heat gun, my angle grinder bits and stuff, and the tool to change the blades. And then I've got my my handsaw, the porter cable handsaw, and a couple blades for it as well. And then coming over on this side, the last drawer, my favorite drawer, is my other power tool drawer. So I have the Milwaukee 3/8 ratchet, electric ratchet. This thing is awesome. Got my 3/8 impact. This thing is also awesome. Surprisingly enough, I didn't expect it when I bought it, but this thing will take off some lug nuts, which is awesome. It's got a lot of torque on it. And then I've got the big boy. Got Bob, the 1/2" impact. And this thing rips like no other. You want a good impact? Go on Amazon, spend 200 bucks, and you'll be able to take off anything you want to. And I've just got a little holder for it. But yeah, all the batteries for those are up here. This battery is for the impacts, the 3/8 and 1/2", and then this battery is for the electric ratchet. So yeah, that's it for my toolbox. So moving over, I've got my workbench here, and I was using this light whenever I was showing you all that stuff, but usually keep my light hanging up right there. So over here, I've got my computer for looking stuff up and writing down notes and listening to music. So I just keep that up with a notepad and my Spotify, so I can listen to music and write down some notes while I'm working on stuff, so I know what's going on. And then I've got my extendable little magnet that I use every time I drop a bolt somewhere. I've got some hangers that I hang like wrenches on and stuff as I'm working on stuff. Nothing's being hung there right now because I'm not working anything right now. But, above it, it's got a shelf. I keep all my bolts from my car, my girlfriend's car, a bunch of random bolts, tissues because I need to blow my nose a lot. Got some engine grease and some white lithium grease. Got some stuff for the house and my fast orange to clean my hands. Then some random 1/2" sockets that I don't have a spot for in my box. And then I've got a bunch of different oil, mower oil, mystery oil. I got my diff fluid, brake clean, all that jazz. And I've got anti-seize, brake lubricant, and isopropyl alcohol. And then I've got my hydraulic jack oil right there to lube up my jack. And then I've got a creeper over here, and I've got my little stands tucked away over there. And then And this thing is just a bunch of hodgepodge of random crap for the house, really. Like bulbs and stuff like that, batteries, and a little flashlight in case the power goes out or whatever. And a bunch of air fresheners. Just a bunch of random crap in there. And then I've got this bag here in case I need to ever take some power tools anywhere, just so I have it. And then inside of it I have my Milwaukee bag that came with my 3/8 ratchet. And then I have Jimmy, the small vise that I used to have mounted over there, but now I have mounted here. This thing is awesome. It's a 3-inch with a really tiny anvil, but gets the job done. I think it was like $17 or something like that, and it's great. No complaints whatsoever. It's a great vise. And then I've got my jack from Harbor Freight. It's awesome. I have the 1.5 ton, and it's hasn't done me wrong yet. It's awesome. Much better than a Walmart jack or whatever else brand. And then in this drawer here, this is my electrical drawer. So got my wire, just a bunch of random wire. Got my heat shrink, got my wire holders. I got my glue sticks. Then I have electrical tape and lighters and some solder. And then some more solder and flux, solder sucker, random, what's that called? PCIe, I think, right? Yeah, I think so. PCIe extender that I got from something. I don't really know, but got it. And I've got my battery powered soldering iron. It's pretty shit, but it gets the job done, so screw it. Yeah, that's it for that drawer. Then going down one more drawer, favorite drawer, got my zip ties, hose clamps, and wire connectors, and then just some random hose that I have from working on my car that I pulled off, and I didn't end up needing to reuse because I replaced them, and I'm keeping those just in case. And then this next couple drawers, in this drawer just has some tape, so double-sided tape, and some painter's tape, random folder, got a bunch of coasters. Speaking of, I need to put one right there so I don't ruin this wood. Then I've got my caulking gun and some more pegboard things that you can hang stuff on in there. And then I've got my painting drawer. So I've got all my, this is empty, I'm just keeping it because I know I'm going to put something in there. Got my wood glue and my wall texture and my paintbrush and paint and stuff like that in here. So this is just my painting and drywall repair drawer. And then underneath, unfortunately, this is not very organized. I have a bunch of random tool bins that are mostly empty, but I'm keeping them just in case I need them. Some random hose clamps, my old airsoft gun, my old tool box, and then tire iron, and a bunch of random crap back there that I'm not gonna get into. And then there's nothing in this drawer or in this right now. Eventually I'm gonna go through all that crap and transfer it over here and just have some toolboxes under there with actual stuff in them. The only thing in this one is this stud finder that's a piece of crap and doesn't work. Then got my space heater for when it gets cold, even though I live in Texas. Got my jack stands. Then I have my fuel can, my oil drain pan. Got my old battery, the upper control arm out of my girlfriend's Miata that I had to angle grind off because it was stuck in there like a piece of crap. And then I have my tire inflator, then my car washing stuff back there, and then my old tool bag that's filled with on-the-go tools. And I've got my drawer for parts that I plan on putting on stuff. So these are my dad's old door actuators to his Acura. I'm gonna repair them and sell them because they're expensive as crap. Got my sister's old sub speakers, the 6x9s in her Honda that I replaced for her. I got some paper and some sheet protectors. Got my girlfriend's valve cover gasket and oil ring gasket, and then speakers that we're going to put in her car. Head unit that I'm going to put in her car. Got my old fuel injectors from my Z. Got my new clutch and pressure plate and pilot bearing and throwout bearing. Now I'm just waiting for my flywheel to come in, then I'm going to drop my transmission and replace my clutch and do all that business. Got my stupid cup holder that broke off. If any of you Z guys out there have one of these cup holders, you're wanting to get rid of it and you're wanting to sell it, hit me up because I don't want to pay $90 for a new one. And then up here, I've got my dirty yard gloves that I use for working on the yard and some random rags. Some more light bulbs for the house. This is mainly just house stuff. Got some vacuum lines to hopefully fix my girl's Miata because she's got a bunch of vacuum leaks. And I've got my little organizer that's got my screws. So I have like wood screws. And then in this one I've got just bolts with nuts attached to them. This one I've got random nuts and bolts. This one I've got washers. This one's I've got bolts. This one I have electrical connectors. This one is just things I need to put on stuff, I guess. Then drywall anchors and bolts. And then this one has nails in it, so it's all organized. I got all my paint back there and just random crap that I felt like setting up there. And then I've got a bunch of brake clean, bunch of shop rags, bunch of gloves, got my car wash and my wax, got some quick detailer, leather cleaner, random spray bottle, water spray bottle, and soap spray bottle, and then all my other cleaning stuff is up there. And then I got a bag full of microfiber towels in there. And then got all my funnels and stuff over here. It's kind of hard. So I have like my brake bleeder, little one-man thing, and then I got a turkey baster to pull out old fluids out of some stuff, and then I got a little pump that you can put on like an oil can to fill up like a diff or a transmission, and then I got my oil one that's super long that goes in, and then I got the big one that everything's sitting in for coolant to fill up coolant systems, and then I've got just a junk one that I use for changing out the lawnmower oil and stuff like that. And then I've got my weed whacker and my blower and my broom, my old oil, and a random fan in my wash bucket. And that is about it as far as everything goes that I've got for tools and stuff. Like I said, you don't need a lot of tools starting out. Just get a nice set of 3/8 sockets, pick either deep or shallow, nice set of pliers, so the vice grips and needle nose, and then get some 3/8 extensions, get a 3/8 ratchet, doesn't have to be fancy, get the cheapest wrenches you can find, just make sure it's a set that doesn't skip a whole lot, because you'll be needing one of those skips and you'll be like, crap, I wish I would have spent $1 more and had it, rather than going out and buying one wrench for $3. And then whatever else I mentioned, I can't remember. It's a lot of crap, but yeah. My favorite tool overall that I've got, I guess I would say, would be my 1/2 inch impact, because that's my favorite tool right now. But favorite tool overall is definitely, I don't know if you would say tool, but my favorite set of tools overall is just a 3/8 ratchet and a set of 3/8 sockets, because you can do a lot with that. So thanks for watching. Hope this gave you some insight on if you were thinking about buying something or anything like that. Yeah, thanks for watching.